Hey, friends! Welcome to Spirit Club, a podcast and community that is all about doing the inner work to live an aligned and, dare I say, happy life. I'm your host, spiritual guide, and intuitive, Angell Kelly, and I'm here to share my teachings along with messages passed on to me from higher consciousness. I've also got incredible guests in store to help you go down all those spiritual rabbit holes. So let's go! Welcome to the club! Hey, Spirit Club. Thanks for joining again. And today's episode, we're going to talk about the buzzword that has been rising in the collective, the divine feminine. I almost feel like a little cringe saying it because it's just been talked about so much over the past few years. But it's a good thing. It is a good thing that it is being talked about more, that it is in people's consciousness more. And that's because that energy, that feminine energy, is infiltrating our world, is taking up more space in the world and contributing to the new earth that we're creating. So ultimately, it's a good thing, even though we're all probably getting a little annoyed of hearing the word divine feminine. Anyhow, so today we're going to talk about what feminine energy looks and feels like. And in talking about that, you can't help but talk about its counterpart, which is the masculine. So we'll talk about that a little bit. And then I'm going to share my personal experience and exploration with the feminine. And then, per usual, I'll leave you with some practical, small ways to start to work with the feminine energy in your life. Okay. So let's start with what is feminine energy. So because when we're talking about energy, it's not something tangible that I can point at, let's work with a metaphor. So imagine a painting. The feminine is the paint. So it flows, it can create all sorts of different things, different outcomes, different visions. It's beautiful, it's colorful, it's attractive. Whereas the masculine is the canvas that the feminine is painted on. So the masculine is providing that structure, providing limits, providing a place to be held. And without it, you would just be flinging paint around a room. So that's the best metaphor I got for you. Let's see how it goes. We'll work with it. All right, so I'm going to use some words to describe feminine energy. So feminine energy is soft, it's receptive, it's flowing, it's creative, it's attractive, it's magnetic, it is sensual, it is pleasurable, it is playful, it is trusting, it's connected, it's nurturing, it's nonlinear, it's cyclical. It's graceful, it's mystical, it's intuitive. Sorry if I've repeated myself, I'm sure it'll happen. It's open-hearted, it's wild. Okay, so these are some words that I would use to describe the feminine, that many would use to describe the feminine. And then to contrast, let's talk about what masculine energy, some words to describe masculine energy. Masculine energy is grounded, it's steady, it's responsible, it's reliable, it's dependable, it's safe, it's protective, it's focused, it's direct, it's action-oriented, it takes initiative, it's decisive, it's productive, it's strong. And not that the feminine isn't strong, but another kind of strong. It's giving. And so when you hear these words, you see why we need both, okay? We need both. Just like the painting, you can't have the painting if you don't have the canvas. So we need both. And I think, the masculine has been getting a lot of hate over these past few years. There's a lot of talk about toxic masculinity. And I don't want to harp on that and go too deep into that. But what I'll say is feminine and masculine energies have a light and a shadow side, just like all things do. They have a healed side and an unhealed side. too much of anything isn't good, right? So I'm not going to use the word toxic, but let's say an unhealed masculine or too much masculine energy might look like control, power hungry or power over, aggressiveness, overly competitive, hyper productivity, or like that workaholic energy. Too much masculine can be very rigid, controlling. I've probably already said that. Emotionally repressive or emotionally unavailable, dismissive, and arrogant. So those are some words to describe when, an unhealed masculine, or like when we've gone too far, we've swung the pendulum too far to the masculine. And because our world, at least the Western world, is dominant in masculine energy, has maybe too much masculine energy, has some unhealed masculine energy. Because of that, our systems are all based off of that energy. What do I mean by systems? So like the way money works, the way we make money, the way we hold money, the way we save money, the way we spend money, our healthcare systems, the way we think about health, the way we handle health, even our systems around like spirituality, religion, all of those are like infiltrated with a lot of masculine energy. And so that has left a lot of us feeling very limited, very like controlled, very boxed in, like we're running the friggin' rat race. Am I right? So, but let's not forget that the pendulum can swing too far the other way as well. You can have unhealed feminine, you can have too much feminine energy as well. So, what does that look like? So, that would look like manipulation, using things like guilt, shame, or seduction as a means to control, people pleasing, lacking boundaries, fluidity in like what is true. So, like Delulu. Being overly passive and not getting anything done, victim mentality, codependency. So these are all examples of too much feminine energy or an unhealed feminine. And I can see it happening as the feminine energy starts to come in to help us build this new earth. We are doing the thing that we do where the pendulum that was over here swings probably too far this way for a bit until we can find our equilibrium and find our center. And that's just like, I feel like that's just like how we humans do things. Okay, so let's get into my personal exploration around the feminine. So I started exploring this concept back in 2021 when I was working with my spiritual coach at the time, Dixie Bennett, shout out. I have an episode with her if you want to go check it out. And it was really tough because I was very dominant in masculine energy. And like, aren't we all? Like probably most of you listening are like, yep, me too, yep. And why is that? I mean, it's because all of our systems, our world is built off of masculine energy. Masculine energy is celebrated. Masculine energy is valued. So we're going to build that side of ourselves. We're going to pour into, our energy is going to go towards that because that is what has been valued in the world we live in. And it's great that that's changing. So for me, like the overbalanced parts of masculine energy that were showing up were around like controlling every outcome, like really like forcing, pushing my agenda, hyper productivity. That is only something that I'm just like starting to get past now, tying my value to work and productivity, and denying my gifts that weren't like technical hard skills. Okay, so those are some of the ways that my masculine energy showed up unhealed or overbalanced, but there's a lot of masculine energy that I hold that I truly value and I'm so grateful for and has gotten me really far in life. Things like my discipline, I'm action oriented, I friggin' get shit done, my friends. I do. I'm responsible. I'm reliable. I am safe. I'm grounded. So I just want to honor and like thank that part of my masculine energy, because it has done and will continue to do a lot for me. And maybe you can start to see some of your masculine energy that you want to express gratitude for. So anyway, I had to unpack, and we'll probably continue to unpack for a while, all the ways that I was out of balance with this masculine feminine energy. And so the ways that I have explored and embraced feminine energy so far, I'm going to share with you here. The first way was around releasing control. So I've talked about releasing control a lot on this podcast. So I'm probably starting to sound like a broken record, but that is because it was so transformational for me. And the things that are most transformational, we share about because there are probably others that need to hear it. So I used to try to control every outcome. I would just set my sights on what I wanted or what I should do or what was the right thing to do. And I would just like full speed ahead. Didn't matter how much maybe my intuition or God was showing me this is not the way. I would just like press on, press on, press on. And so I started to practice releasing control, first in small ways around things that weren't super scary, and then in bigger ways around things that were more like life is on the line sort of ways. And the more I did it, the more I saw the magic on the other side of releasing control. And when I bore witness to that magic, I started to trust that. And I started to know, oh, that is what I want, that magic that happens on the other side of releasing control. So I will do that. I will commit my life to releasing control. And now I do it with little to no hesitation. It's much more natural for me. But yeah, it was scary. For those of you listening who are like, no, I don't want to, it's scary. It was scary. I literally remember dealing with a health thing, wanting to control it, wanting to fix it. And I had to release control. I just had to surrender and trust. And I remember literally being on my knees crying and praying. So yeah, it is scary. But what I will tell you is that once you start to get comfortable with releasing control and leaning into surrender and trust, it's actually a way safer place to be. It's a way safer place to be than in the place of trying to control. When you can get to a place of trust, that is so much safer. So I go into this in depth on an episode around trusting the universe. You can flip through my episodes to find it. So the second way that I have explored the feminine is by softening. So what does that mean? So the divine feminine is soft, is open-hearted. And, I had a lot of boundaries, a lot of walls up, a lot of triggers, a lot of quick reactions. So something I was often asking myself was, how can I soften in this moment? How can I soften in this moment? How can I soften in this moment? I literally remember I was like driving and some car did something dumb in front of me and I was about to react, like get annoyed, get pissed off, say something rude. And instead I asked, how can I soften in this moment? And instead I just like laughed it off, imagined like a friend or someone doing that in front of me and just softened into that moment. So that's like a small way of softening in. A big way that I had to soften was in forgiveness. I had to do a lot of forgiving and forgiving Shane, forgiving some others that I had perceived had hurt me. I softened by accepting people as they are, stuff like that. Okay. Third way that I play with the energy of the feminine is in my relationship with Shane. Romantic relationships are actually like a great and ideal place to play with these energies. And I know it's like,
it doesn't matter. Like, I know there are so many types of relationships out there. There are going to be masculine and feminine poles in whatever relationship you're in. And if you're wanting to lean more into the feminine one, it's a great place to do it. And for me, I have a lot of room to grow here. Like, I think Shane and I have lots to continue to explore with those poles of energy. But so far for me, what it's looked like in relationship is not trying to control Shane. I'll say it again. Not trying to control Shane, not try to control what he does, especially when I want things to change, when I want some change. So I think for us spiritual development girlies, we think we know like what our partner needs to heal, to be a better man, to change whatever it is. And I had to like completely let go of that. Of course, I'm going to voice, we're going to communicate. We've got trust and communication. So I'm going to communicate, what I need or what is or isn't working for me. But then I had to just surrender and put like how that happens, his process, his journey, just leave it in his hands. I just have to leave it up to him and his soul, and he's going to do it the best way that works for him. And it's been a huge, huge growth point for our relationship and for me to embrace more of the feminine. Another way in relationship that I play with this energy is allowing Shane to lead. So I practice and I try allowing Shane to be in his masculine energy in as many places as possible in our relationship. And that's like slowly becoming more and more. In the beginning, because I was controlling and I control every outcome, I just did everything and think I did everything the best. You know what I mean? And I just had to step back and trust that he'll lead, and he does. But I have to give him that space and that trust. That's what I have to give as being in my feminine. Another way that I embrace the feminine in my relationship is by allowing more playfulness in. I think, I used to be quite rigid, and if something was like annoying in relationship, I'd probably be passive aggressive or something like that. But now we're very playful. We do a lot of joking, a lot of teasing, and bringing that playfulness into the relationship and poking fun has actually been a really healthy habit for our relationship. So those are just a few ways that I've worked with those energies in my relationship. And there are so many more in relationship that I look forward to exploring and developing with Shane. Okay, the fourth way that I have explored feminine energy is by being creative, allowing myself to be creative. Creativity was really, really hard when I was all tied up with my go, go, go life, my go, go, go schedule, overbalanced masculine. And that's partially because of the world we live in, but it's partially because I clearly didn't honor or respect the feminine enough, right? Because if I did, I would bump that up in my priority list, but I did not. But now I do. I give my creativity a lot of space in my life, so much so. It's like I give it more and more every year, so much so that this year I literally saved up and quit my job so that creativity could take up all the space in my life. I never thought I would say the words, I just want to create. I just want to create. But that has been what I've been saying and feeling in 2025. So, yeah. Okay, and the last and obvious way that I worked with feminine energy was by allowing my intuition to come online and to lead my life and ultimately help other people. So it kind of dawned on me while I was creating this episode that my intuitive gifts were activated on the other side of exploring feminine energy. like alongside my coach. We were working on it, and I didn't realize it until doing this episode that they just opened up. And when my intuition first started lighting up, I can remember I made a pledge to myself that for one entire month, I would follow every intuitive hit I had. I wrote them all down and I honored them and followed them. And that was a freaking powerful practice. um, and then from there, here we are, worked on my clairvoyance, my claircognizance, all these things, and here we are today. So, yeah, intuition is another way that I have really honored and respected feminine energy. And, I think it speaks to, I talked about earlier in the episode that feminine energy is starting to permeate our world more. And this is sort of proof of that, because everyone listening here is now being guided by their intuition. That was not on the table like 5 years ago. So I think it's really like a testament to where we are, where we're headed. Okay, so while those were ways that I've personally worked with feminine energy, maybe some of them resonated, maybe they didn't. I, of course, have a little list of 10 ways that you can start working with feminine energy today. And these are really more like bite-sized. These are just really practical, not as like deep dive as the ways that I've been exploring that energy through the years. So 10 quote unquote easy ways to start exploring feminine energy. First one, pleasure. Pleasure. Allow more pleasure into your life. And this doesn't have to be sexual, although gold star if that's the route you decide to take, because that is a powerhouse way of exploring feminine energy. But yeah, you could experience pleasure through taste, through food, through smells, through fabrics, through color, through experience, all these different ways of experiencing pleasure. That is a wonderful way to call in more feminine energy. Second way, play. Play with your dog, play with your cat, play with your kid, whatever it is. Just play. And make sure that your play there's no point to it. There's no objective. There's no you're not like playing to get something. Just play. This is a great way to foster more feminine energy. Third way, be creative. Be creative without an objective. Again, similar to playing. So follow a creative call. Maybe you're like, ooh, I feel like painting, or I feel like, I don't know. There's so many, I feel like cooking, or I feel like whatever. There are so many ways to be creative. Follow a creative call and then stop when the inspiration leaves you. And let that be okay. Just allow yourself to follow creative calls, play in creative energy, and don't turn them into something. Don't turn them into a job, a calling, an objective, whatever it is. Be creative for the sake of being creative. Fourth way, hang out in the nude. Yeah. So the feminine energy is super sensual, and there's something about hanging out in the nude that really calls that feminine energy forward. I can't quite name it for you or intellectualize it for you. You'll just know. Give it a try. Fifth way, walk barefoot or be barefoot in nature. There's a lot of the feminine is very wild, and she's obviously connected to nature, the cycles of nature, the energy of nature. So go be with it, and go be with it raw with your bare feet. Okay, sixth way, wear something that you right now consider to be too girly. Okay, so you're putting a judgment on it. It's too girly, which, we don't need to go deeper into it, but that may be something programmed, because we're kind of programmed to judge and think less of the feminine. So put something on that you consider too girly. Maybe it's like the color pink. Maybe it's a dress. Maybe it's lipstick, whatever it is. And I can hear you all saying, it's just not me. And I believe you, it's not you. And maybe it's not you because you've got a lot of masculine energy. And maybe it's not you because it's not you. But I am confident that you can find something to wear that is very feminine, that's not currently something you'd be comfortable wearing, but that like you're willing to try and play around with. Okay, seventh tip for calling in more feminine energy is to practice receiving. Feminine energy is very receptive. So when someone compliments you, don't deflect. I have a friend, shout out to Gabby, who will often say, I received that when she receives a compliment, and I love it. I'm like, because it's like we don't know what to say when someone compliments us. So we just like downplay ourselves or deflect it or compliment the other person. But I receive that. When someone offers to do something for you, take the offer. Whatever, receive. If someone wants to buy you a coffee, let them. Don't be like, oh, okay, I'll get you next time. Just receive. Now, I talk about this like it's something I know how to do. I don't. All those things I just told you are things that I'm practicing right now because this is a part of the feminine that I'm currently exploring, how to receive. This is something that's sort of like come online for me as like a flag since I got engaged. And it's part of like my engagement journey to learn to receive. So yeah, I'm not good at it, guys. I'm not good at it. So I'll be right there with you figuring this one out. And when I have it embodied, we'll chat about it a bit more. Okay. Eighth way to play in a feminine energy is to hang out with a group of women. Simple as that. Yes, this group of women may be super dominant in their masculine energy, as we all are, but there's something like that really gets amplified about the feminine when we get together. So have a girls' night, hang out with the girls. Ninth way is to schedule. I want you to put in your schedule an intuitive day. So what do I mean by that? This is a day where you only do what you feel called to do. You don't do anything that you should do. You don't do anything that's productive. You don't do anything for other people. You just check in and you do what you feel like doing. So this is about feeling into rather than forcing. Feeling into rather than forcing. What do I feel like eating? Wake up in the morning, what do I feel like eating? Rather than like, okay, I've food prepped for the week and this is what I'm eating. Or you've got a morning routine. Instead of getting up and doing your morning routine, you're feeling into it. What do I feel like doing? Now, listen, I know it's not super practical to live this way every day. I'm not saying it is. I'm just giving you a place to play with that. Yeah, sometimes we got to get shit done. Sometimes we got to take care of our kids. There are things that we got to do, right? But the more you practice this, the more you find places in your day to be intuitive about things, to feel into rather than force. Okay, and final tip is to track your cycle for at least one cycle. And when I say track your cycle, I don't mean just like this is when I got my period. No, I mean have a daily journal. And as you go through the phases of your cycle, just noting how you feel physically, emotionally, what's going on, what's your energy level like. So this is really just getting you in tune with the inherent cyclical nature of your body. And bonus points if you pay attention to what's going on with the moon at the same time. And for those of you who no longer have a cycle or whatever that happens to be, then I would suggest you pay attention to the moon cycle and journal around yourself in the moon cycle. Okay, that's it, friends. That's it on feminine energy. That's it for today, but you better believe this conversation is going to keep happening. And I think that that is a great thing. We are building this new earth. It's going to look way different, and the feminine is here to support that. So, as we all allow it to take up more space in ourselves, it will take up more space in the world. Okay, until next time, bye.